This is Angela Grayson from the Loving Life Fitness podcast to help others in their fitness journey. All possible.
It's time to wake up. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. This is Angela Grayson from the Loving Life Fitness podcast, where we talk to professional and everyday people just like you about how to live a better life through health and fitness. And today on the show, we have with us a very good friend, Rick DeTata, that I've known almost my whole life. He was a best friend of my husband's way back when, 1976, I think we met. Oh my gosh, long time ago. So, hey, Rick, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm honored that you said, yes, I'll be on my show, because Rick is one of the most avid people I know about staying fit and healthy throughout his entire life. I'm not scared to say I'm 63, and I hope, but you guys, you'd never know that Rick was the age that he is. So, Rick, let's go way back to even before I met you. What kind of a kid were you, and why did you get involved so much in health and fitness?
Well, actually, it was my father who pushed me into it, because my father was like, he was a mixture of half Tony Soprano and half Archie Bunker. So typical New Jersey Italian. He was always preaching about fitness as he smoked his Camel cigarettes. But before my brother and I could go out to play in the summertime, and this is in the 60s, before pretty much fitness was a fad, but there was Jack LaLanne back in those days, if people remember that. He would make us do 100 push-ups and 300 sit-ups every day before we could go out and play. Well, he'd be over us like that, with a cigarette in his mouth going, 1, 2, count it. So we would have to do that every day. And then he was pretty strict about that. And then, so that started that. But as time went on, I sprouted up, I got taller, but I was so skinny. I was just so self-conscious about being skinny. I mean, because I loved girls, and, I used to look at bodybuilding magazines, and when I say skinny, I mean, people used to call me over when they wanted to be alone. That's how skinny I was. You know what I mean? So I used to do a lot of reading, but then did a lot of surfing, and then didn't do any working out really through high school. But right after high school, your husband, Billy, and I went in the Air Force, and we happened to be stationed up in the mountains of Germany. We took a bus ride up this mountain. It was just going up and up and up and up. And there was a building there. I said, "Is this the bus station?" The driver said, "No, this is your base. Get out." It was a small, tiny base, and there wasn't much there, but there was a gym there. And so both he and I decided that we're going to start working out every single day. And it started there, and it's continued 48 years later for myself. I just really never stopped, because I saw progress. Within a year, I went home. I went in at 130 pounds, and I went home a year later on leave at 160, and my arms were 4 inches bigger, which is, that's like saying the thread grew to, from dental floss to a piece of string. But it was still noticeable. My parents noticed as soon as I got off the plane. They were like, wow, and I like that feeling. People don't realize that working out physical fitness is a great ego motivator, and ego is a great motivation, because everybody wants to look good about themselves. People go, well, oh, why do you do that, for your health? And I go, yeah, that's part of it, but but I like to look good. You know what I mean? And people do. And anybody in the gym who tells you it's not about ego, they're lying. You know what I mean? Because it is. So I started working out back then. We got out of the Air Force, and then when I got out, I continued. I joined the gym, and actually eventually became manager of that gym. So then it started from there. Then I got bigger and bigger. And then I think my high school reunion, my 10th year, I got voted most changed, because I graduated at 120 and went back at 220. And I did some competitions, and it was fun. But then from then on, I just kept going on and on and on. And the thing about working out is, if you want to stay with it, it's got to become part of a lifestyle for you. Just like getting up and brush your teeth. It's part of the lifestyle. and you do it. And people say, well, I don't have time. If you have an hour a day to watch television, you have an hour a day to work out. But the thing about working out is, and any exercise, anything in life, you have to want to do it. You have to want to do it. And if you don't want to do it, there's nothing anybody in the world's going to say to make you to want to do it if you don't want to. So that's how it started for me.
Yeah, I remember when I met my husband, you guys were working out in your garage. I used to come up
Right.
and hang out, and you and Billy were in there in the garage working out. Your little brother, Steve, sometimes was out there. And that's when I got to know your mom and dad, too, with great family. But how great is it to have a good friend that you could start working out with and continue? And you guys were opposites. You were the skinny kid trying to get bigger, and he was the heavier kid trying to get just stronger and have more body composition. And when I met you guys, you were both in great shape. I was like, wow, look at these guys. Of course I fell in love,
Yeah. Yeah, we played off of each other. He was trying to lose weight and get bigger, and I was trying to gain weight and get bigger. So we played off of each other. And every time we went to the beach, Billy would say, "Well, we can't go to the beach. We got to do push-ups in the parking lot first to pump up." So to this day, every time I go to a beach and I look at the parking lot, I laugh because we actually got down in the parking lot and did push-ups to pump up. And we weren't really that big back then. You know what I mean? I think I was like 160 pounds at that particular time, which is not big. Like I said, it gets in your DNA and it stays there. And that's how it ends up until you're 66 years old, like me, and still doing it every single day, which I just came back from the gym before this podcast. I mean, I was there for an hour and a half, you know what I mean? And it's what I do.
So you said that, Jan, you were in competition. I didn't even know that. What part of your life was that? That must have been when we kind of drifted off in separate directions for a while. Tell me about that.
That was in the early 80s. I dabbled in it. I worked out at a gym called Apollo Gym in Fort Lauderdale. It was pretty much strictly a bodybuilding gym, competition bodybuilding gym, hardcore, not like today, not like where you go to the gyms today where you got somebody following you, wiping down the machines and mopping behind you, and it's almost a sterile environment. No, this was a hardcore bodybuilding gym, chalk on the floor and tears in the equipment, but the guys there were hardcore dedicated guys, you know what I mean? And competition was fun. The hard part about bodybuilding competition is the dieting, because you want to try to get up on that stage about 2% body fat, and it's really tough. I mean, you're sucking on ice cubes and eating tuna fish out of the can the last 3 days before the competition. I never made it big in that, but it was fun. It was fun to compete. It was interesting, And once you're in that group of people, you got to stay with those people because they're your friends and they understand the struggles of working out and competing and dieting. And then dieting is the worst. It's the absolute worst. If you like to eat, I mean, like I said, eating tuna fish out of the can, washing it down with water, and now today dieting is a total science. I mean, it's so much different back from the early 80s. That was fun. I didn't stick with that. I did a little bench press contests and stuff like that. But mostly the bottom line, we worked out just to look good and feel good and, strut on the beach. And that's what we did. We'd go as a group of guys in the 80s, just go to Hollywood Beach and put our blankets down and look at the girls. I mean, that's what it was,
A little bit more about competition. Michelle, Melody's daughter. Melody, for everybody, just a quick little, so is my husband's sister, and her daughter, Rochelle. She tried to get into competition one time, and she was really big into working out. And oh my gosh, like you said, the diet, if you don't have a coach, it's like so much information that you need to know. You're training for a pretty long time to go into competition.
Yeah, and the day of the competition, when you're on that stage and your carbohydrates are down to zero, you're dehydrated, you're not very healthy when you're on that stage and you're posing and cramping up and stuff. So, I mean, it can get dangerous. I had a friend of mine won a competition, and the night of the competition, his father threw him a big party. They were very Italian. They owned an Italian restaurant. We had a big party with lasagna and pizza, and he was eating like crazy because he had to eat. But the problem was he was also dehydrated at the time. The next morning he woke up with severe edema. He gained like 40 pounds overnight. So he had to go to the hospital, and they had to give him all kind of Lasix and to drain him, and his ankles swelled up, his neck swelled up. So it can be dangerous. It can be very dangerous.
Yeah, really, there needs to
You
be
don't know what you're doing.
more. Get a trainer who really knows what they're doing.
Right. Right now at this age, the competition is just looking in the mirror every day and and hoping I look better than I did the day before. Right now, you compete against yourself. As you get older, you start competing against yourself, especially as you get a career, you get less time. And during those days, I was a bartender and a bouncer in Hollywood and Fort Lauderdale Beach. And, you worked the night, you had the whole day off, you had nothing to do but work out. But now, once you get a career and you're moving on and you're kind of drift off from that stuff, just work out just to feel good and look good.
Yeah. And okay, so let's talk a little bit backwards, talking about the insecurities of being skinny. I just did a recording with somebody else the other day who most of her life, after she had her 2 children, she was so skinny and had no shape to her, just the way her body was. And she talked about how hard it was because not only can people be mean to those who are overweight, but people can be mean to those who are underweight. Her own family telling her, you need to eat more. And she was eating like 4,000 calories a day, but her digestive system was like crazy. And it was just going right through her. Did you ever experience anything like that?
Well, see, I was never an eater. That was my problem. I just didn't like to eat. To this day, I'm not an eater. I'm not a foodie. I eat to live. I don't live to eat like some people do. You know what I mean? I'm good with a protein shake and a chicken breast and a salad, and I'm good. My treat is a pizza once every 3 weeks. I have 2 or 3 slices of that and I'm done. So I was so skinny because I used to never ate and come from an Italian family, which my mother cooked all the time. My father used to get worried. He goes, why don't this kid eat? Why don't this kid eat? Yeah. He actually bought me protein powder back in the early 70s to gain weight. But the protein powder back then was literally, you had to put it in a cement mixer. And it literally, if you didn't swallow it, hardened in your mouth. And it's not like the proteins they have today, which dissolve immediately in a shaker and they taste great. They taste like a dirt.
Drink this.
Yeah. And and I wasn't gaining weight no matter what. But the reason why I mean, when I went to the Air Force, I only made the Air Force by 1 pound for my height because they have the height weight restrictions. I only made it by 1 pound, and because the summer we went in, I was eating bananas and peanut butter and anything I could get my hands on to gain a little bit of weight. You become very self-conscious when you're not happy with your body. You're very self-conscious. I mean, I used to go to the beach with a shirt on. Like I said, I would look at bodybuilding magazines, and especially back in the early days when Arnold Schwarzenegger came out in 1975, the movie Pumping Iron came out, which pretty much kicked off the whole bodybuilding explosion. Look at that. And meanwhile, I look in the mirror and I had long brown hair. I look like a dirty mop. You know what I mean? It's so skinny. I had a pirate's dream. I had a sunken chest, But then once I decided that I was no longer going to look like this anymore, that's when, like I said, in Germany, when we got to there and it was very small base, there wasn't much to do. I basically lived in that gym. I ate well. I started reading about eating, protein and everything. And my body kind of exploded that year. And I haven't stopped since. Well, I've been the same weight now for years because I don't want to get any bigger or any smaller. So I just maintain my weight right now. I mean, I'm 205 and I've been 205 for 20 years.
Yeah. So tell us about what you do eat on a daily basis. The pretty routine.
First thing I do when I get up in the morning, I drink 8 ounces of water because you have to replenish your water. It's good for your organs. It's good for your skin. So I drink that. And then what I'll do, I'll have a bowl of oatmeal or a bowl of rice with a protein drink, which is the protein is about 48 to 50 grams of protein. And then I'll go to the gym and then I'll work out, do my workout. I'll come home and then I'll have usually 3 eggs, like sunny side up or scrambled or even hard boiled. And then with maybe some more oatmeal or rice. The afternoons consist of, I'll grill some chicken breast or a piece of meat. And then mid-afternoon is another protein drink. And then dinner is usually steak. I'll get a piece of nice steak, grill that, or fish. I don't like fish. I don't like fish. And and people say that, how could you be a fisherman and not like fish? I fish for the sport, not for the food. There are some fish that I prefer, like flounder or mahi or grouper, but other than that, I'm just not a fish person. So with the fish that I do eat, I force it down. And that's about it. That's my daily intake. You know what I mean? I'm 205 pounds, so I try to take in that many grams of protein a day, at least 205 grams of protein a day. And I do that through supplements with the protein drinks. Because like I said, the protein drinks, they're good. They taste like chocolate milk. You drink those down, and you got 50 grams of protein within minutes. That's my thing. And then I love sweets, so I cheat on the weekends. Look, I'm not going to be a slave to my body at this point. You know what I mean? Back in the day when you compete and you're younger and you want to look the best you possibly can, and when you're in the bodybuilding or the fitness world, you are a slave to your body, whether you know it or not. Because you see people walking through the gym in Tupperwares, eating rice and quinoa, and I mean, I look at those people today, I laugh because I remember those days, and I said, I'm so done with that. I'm not going to be a slave to my body. If I want to cheat, if I want to chocolate bar, I'm going to eat it. But I also, with that being said, I do a lot of cardio. I ride my bike. I have a carbon fiber fitness bike I ride because we have a nice path by my house. It's an asphalt path. It's 4 miles in either direction. So I'll get on that and I'll time myself. So I'll do anywhere from 45 to 50 miles a week on my bike. These are not just pleasure rides. These are getting my heart rate up to 160 and really moving. And I switch my cardio around. And then the days I'm going to do my bike, I'll use the treadmill at the gym. I'll do the treadmill for a couple of miles. I'll put it on an incline so it works my legs. And I can't do squats anymore because my knees are not what they used to be. My leg workout consists of a lot of leg presses, leg curls on the machines, and my bike riding. But then I'll switch it up. I'll do the Stairmaster in the gym, which is a whole different world. When you do the Stairmaster is different than any other cardio because it's like climbing stairs that never end. You know what I mean? And your heart rate jumps really fast. So I maintain a good heart rate, and that's what keeps my weight even. So if I cheat, have a pizza, especially during Christmas time, and a lot of candies and fudge and pastas and stuff, I'm not going to deny myself that. But the next day I get into the gym, I burn it off as much as I can.
Yeah. Your meal plan, the way you have it on most days of the week, probably, you're basically eating 5 meals a day. It might not be, 5 big meals, but you're eating 5 times a day. And
Right.
that helps keep that metabolism going too. So
Right.
the cardio,
Right.
the way you eat is really helpful. So what if you want a candy bar, ice cream, or whatever, go for it.
Right. And after the Air Force, I went to college. I got out of college in 1986. I wanted to be into naval aviation, so I joined the Navy and I got into naval aviation. But it was just the opposite this time. When I went to the recruiter's office, I was 240, and he says, "Wow," he goes, "I can't even talk to you till you drop down 35 pounds." So that summer, before I went to air crew school or flight school, you talk about eating tuna fish out of the can. I was fasting, eating tuna fish out of the can, and I did it. I dropped 35 pounds. But people think it's really hard to lose weight. It's not. The best thing to do to lose weight, don't eat so much. Stay away from sugars. Sugar's poison. Sugar is probably the biggest drug in the United States right now because sugar is in everything. You look at ketchup; it's got sugar in it. Everything's got sugar. So if you want to lose weight, don't eat. You know what I mean? Not to the point where it's unhealthy, but I believe in fasting. I've done intermittent fasting where you eat from 10 o'clock in the morning till maybe 5 at night, not another calorie after 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock the next morning. You'll drop weight. The only way you lose weight is taking in less calories than you're burning. And the only way you gain weight is by taking in more calories than you're burning. It's really not that difficult. It's not a hard equation.
You still were doing your strength training when you tried to drop the weight?
Yeah, I did. But at this point, I do a lot. I'm all about repetitions now. I mean, the joints are starting to hurt a little bit more as you get older from all the years of pounding the weights, and it's just, but you got to remember back in the 80s when I was with my friends, we would pick a body part, just say legs. We'd squat for 3 hours, just squatting, going heavy, wrap our knees up with the tape, and we'd go up to 600 pounds and come all the way back down. And, or we'd pick like chest, we'd be on the bench press. It was crazy. When you're young, you're stupid. You know what I mean? And now the problem is you get to feel that, the joints are starting to get a little arthritic. So my son works out. My son's 6'1", almost 240. He's a beast. So he's like, so what's your routine now, Dad? I'm like, I go into the gym, whatever doesn't hurt that particular day, that's the body part I'm working. You know what I mean? So that's how it is now. But I'm all about repetitions now. I don't do the heavy with the 4 reps. I'm into 10, 12, 15 reps when I do my workouts now,
Yeah.
and it saves your joints. You know what I mean? I don't push myself to the point where I'm in a lot of pain. Well, you can't at this age. I mean, I'm 4 years from 70. Think about it. Think about your parents when they were 70. I mean, I look at my old aunts and uncles when they were 40. They looked like they were 70. My friend had an airplane. We used to go fly it on Wednesdays, and we promised ourselves when we were in our 20s that if we ever turned 40, we're going to crash the plane into the Everglades, because who wants to live past 40? You're an old man. It's one of the secret things to working out that people don't understand. Now, I'm just talking about weights. I'm talking about exercise. Any physical fitness, it's the fountain of youth. It really slows down the aging process. You're not going to stop it. Mother Nature's going to take over at one point, but it really slows you down. It really does. And because you're breaking down muscle, the brain says, well, he's using that. So what does he do? The brain repairs that muscle, and it's a cycle. It breaks down, repair, break down, repair. And people who sit on the couch all day and eat and don't work out, their body says, well, he doesn't need that. So there's no need to put the nutrients there or repair it. So that's called aging. That's why you see some people that are overweight and they, how old are you? You're like, they're like, I'm 42. And you're like, wow, Jesus, genetics plays a huge part in that. Don't get me wrong. Genetics is huge. My mother had incredible genetics. When she passed away in her 80s, and she still didn't have any wrinkles. But genetics plays a part. Laziness is very easy to acquire if you don't do it. And at this point, the hardest part about working out, the hardest part about going to the gym is going to the gym.
Yes, getting a habit going, or you're going to be addicted to sitting on the couch and have that habit of coming home every day and sitting on the couch. Or what's your other choice?
Well, the thing about it now is the days I feel like I don't want to work out, I push myself to go. But some days if I don't work out, I feel worse if I didn't work out. It's almost a guilt thing. It's almost an obsession. Yeah, it might be an obsession or a mental problem. I don't know, but it is what it is. But it doesn't matter because I like it, because it drives me. It drives me to go to the gym. You know what I mean? Because if I don't want to go, like this morning, it was 47 degrees when I woke up this morning. I was like, I want to go back to bed. I mean, I was, it's just 7 o'clock. I'm driving to the gym going, I'm freezing to death. You know what? Once I got there, though, once you walk through the door of the gym, you might as well go at it 110% because you're paying for it. 1, 2, you're there. Do it. Don't waste your time. But Arnold always said, if there are days you go to the gym and you don't feel right, you don't feel like you want to do it, or something is off, walk out, because those are the days you get injured. Those are the days you mess up and get injured. So I try to concentrate. I drink a pre-workout, something like a Monster drink, the sugar-free Monster drinks. I drink a pre-workout, or there's one called C4. There's another one called Red Line. And, they're basically, I don't know, people call them heart attacks in a can, but it gets me going. I get in the gym and I put my music on. It's funny because back in the old days, before ear pods or anything, they actually had a radio with speakers in the gym, and people used to actually talk to each other and have, conversations, and you worked out in groups. Now everybody's walking with ear pods on, looking at their phones. Everybody's on their own little planet. There's like, they say there's 9 planets. When you go to a gym, there's 1,000 planets because everybody's on their own. I put my ear pods in. I try not to talk to anybody. I just focus, get in, and get out. Believe me, as you get older, you change a lot. Your train of thought changes all the time,
Yeah,
in every aspect.
Absolutely. So I'm so glad you mentioned your son. I know you're so proud of him and his career and where he's going. And it's great to hear that, he's working out and keeping himself healthy again. So you guys talk a lot to each other about your workouts and how you're doing, because that's great that had influence with your father.
Yeah, he's a little bit more crazy than I am because he has a scale. He weighs every meal. He has an app on his phone. He counts the calories and he's weighing everything. And I'm like, just give me the sandwich. Let me eat it, for God's sake. You know what I mean? But he's weighing what he put in there. But with that being said, he's also, he was a combat Marine, been in Afghanistan. So he was in the Marines for 5 years. He got out. He graduated Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, got his degree there. And now he's trying to go back in the Air Force to fly for the Air Force. So now he's trying to keep his weight maintained because there is a height weight restriction, and basically he's too big to go in now. So it's a long process. When they tell him to start losing weight, he'll go on a severe diet and do it. It's all discipline. That's what it is. It's everything, pretty much everything in life, but especially when it comes to working out, it's discipline is the operative word. You have to have discipline. If you don't have discipline in life, then anything could happen. Then you have anarchy.
How old is he?
30.
30. And how old were you when you went into the service again?
The first time I went in the Air Force 6 days after my 18th birthday, and then the Navy, I went in, I was 26.
Good. So your son is following in your footsteps, not the same branch of service, but doing the same sort of thing.
After 8 years of the Navy, was 20 years as a firefighter EMT. Yeah. So, and working with your son on the same department.
Yeah.
That freaked me out because I was in the hospital room when he was born, and now he's working with me at the fire station. You talk about feeling old. That's when you start feeling old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you look at it that way, but you didn't really feel old. Otherwise you wouldn't be there, right?
No. I think those guys made me feel young. You know what I mean? Those weren't the older guys there.
You hang around with younger people, it does make you feel younger. Right.
Yeah. Especially when you're in better shape than most of them. So,
yeah.
Right?
So true. All these guys for the police department, for the fire department, it's like you got to go through so much training to pass their physicals. I became a personal trainer just before my son went into the fire department. And, one of the things I wanted to do was get involved with the fire department. It's like, you have to go through so much to join. Why aren't there rules about staying healthy? I mean, you're supposed to be saving people's lives,
Right. That's the main thing. You have to be in good shape to yank somebody out of a building, or if you're a police officer, run a criminal down. As a firefighter, if one of your fellow firefighters goes down in the building, he's got 40, 60 pounds of gear on him. And if he's a 200-pound man, now you're talking a lot of weight that pretty much if he's passed out, you got to drag him out. You have to be in shape to do that. You better be in shape to do that, or if something happens, you're going to feel guilty for the rest of your life if you couldn't help him because you're sucking down your air tank in 10 minutes.
Really unfortunate that the cities and all the other fire departments, the private ones, the volunteer ones, that they don't have any kind of tactical training to keep everybody in shape. It really are.
And every fire station's got a full gym. Yeah. Every fire station. Like I said, you have to want to do it. You can't, no matter what you say, no matter how you preach, the person's got to want to do it. And if they don't want to do it, they won't do it. I've taught guys to go to the gym. Okay, I'll go with you. And they go for a day or two, and then you don't see them anymore. Or when they're with you, they're looking at their phone, they're talking to other people. The secret to working out it's not a secret, but it's consistency. You have to be consistent in it. It's got to be part of your lifestyle. Like I said, like you brush your teeth every morning, you got to do some kind of physical exercise every day. They didn't have to worry about this 1,000 years ago because your physical exercise was just staying alive, surviving. Now you got the comforts of home, you got phones and TVs, you turn into a marshmallow. It's up to the individual.
Absolutely. You said a little bit about fishing. So the fishing, you're okay. People say, what does that have to do with health and fitness? So I look at it as happiness. Okay. It's part of health. Okay. And being happy, enjoying your life and what you do. And I know how much of an avid fisherman you are, even though you don't eat fish, you throw them all back.
But the fish that we get are usually I usually fish for big game fish like big tarpon, big sailfish, marlin, big snook. And I'm happiest when I'm on the water. It's so much nicer to be on the water looking at the land than being on the land looking at the water. That's my happy place. Everybody has to find a happy place. People go, oh, fishing can be so boring. Yeah, but some days you're not catching a fish, but you're still on the water. You're still out in that sunshine, and you're still looking back at land, watching all the little ants run back and forth, and the cars going by, and you're on that water. But it's a happy place, and everybody's got their own different happy place. Some people have their happy place as a library. It depends, but that happens to what I like. And since I live practically on the water, I might as well like fishing and boating.
Yeah, we had a boat almost all of our married life, me and Billy. And I used to say a day out on the water was like, a week's vacation. You just come back and your mind is just in another place, especially back when you couldn't even there were no cell phones. So nobody was making phone calls, nobody was calling you, and you weren't on your phone looking things up. You were out there engulfed in being out on the ocean and with your family or your friends, whoever you're with.
You mentioned cell phones. I mean, look, we all use them. They're all part of our lives now. They're actually almost another appendage on our body because we always have it in our hand. But in essence, a cell phone could be poison. It really could, because it just removes you from everything else. And you're on social media and you don't know what's true, what's fake. I don't think it's healthy for your mind. It's not. It's a great tool. I wish I had one in college. I mean, you could look up anything on Google and you'll find the answer to anything you want. But it's a tool, and we've taken that tool too far. It's part of our I don't know if it's the next step in evolution. I don't know. It could be. But we try to, when I fish with my friends, we try to turn our cell phones off. You know, it doesn't work all the time, but we try.
At least you tried. Yeah. So my daughter Cindy, who grew up knowing you, okay, she requested that we talked a little bit more about fishing. So fishing just doesn't, you just don't go out on the water and you throw a line out and hope to catch something fun. All the planning that goes into a fishing trip, depending on what you're going fishing for that next morning. Let's talk a little bit about that, about all the planning for fishing and getting out there and trying to do your best, and then the satisfaction.
Yeah. Well, this is for Cindy. Listen, it's sometimes I wish when I was younger, I didn't know much about fishing. I would just go. Now I think I know too much because you're worried about the moon phases and tides and currents and winds. Back when I was younger, you just go. If you caught something fun, if you didn't, but now when you go for the bigger fish, I happen to live in a great fishing area because I live almost on the Indian River Lagoon, and there's Hutchinson Island that separates the ocean from Indian River Lagoon, which is the Indian River Lagoon is basically the intercoastal waterway, but we still have mangroves. There's not buildings everywhere here. Depends on what you want. I mean, I fish for big tarpon in the river, which is the Indian River. You got to know how to catch the bait. We net our bait, and you got to know where the fish are swimming. And then when you go for sailfish, where I live is considered sailfish capital of the world. I guess Stewart gave themselves that title, but I'll tell you what, catching a sail or tarpon is one of the most exciting things a fisherman could catch because they jump and they're big and strong and they're just beasts. And when you get them next to the boat, you take the picture and we release them. I release pretty much everything. If I catch mahi, I won't release that because my wife will kill me. I don't do much bottom fishing like for grouper or anything like that. Kite fishing, we put a bait out with a kite. Billy used to do that with kites, I believe. And keep the bait on the top, and that strike. To me, the strike is the most. It's not fighting the fish. It's the most exhilarating. Is when you're waiting, and all of a sudden, that strike happens, and for 1 second, your heart actually stops because you stop breathing. And then the fight is on. You know what I mean? But like you have to know tides. Tides are very important because you could fish a moving tide and as soon as that tide stops, it goes into slack tide for about a half an hour because the tide changes every 6 hours. It's amazing. The fish just shut off like somebody turned the light switch off. And then once the tide starts moving again, they'll pick up. I learned that down in the Keys. I was fishing for permit with a friend of mine, and we were catching permit big ones, 30 pounders. And it just stopped. And I said, what happened? They leave? No, the tide stopped moving. He said, just wait a half hour. So we had our lunch, half hour goes by, you see the water start moving, and like clockwork, boom, they hit hard again. So I don't know what Cindy wants to know. I mean, the only way I can show her is take her.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish she were here with us right now because she would tell her little story about when her dad went fishing one day by themselves. I don't know if she ever told you this, when they had, more than one line out and they were out for sailfish. They both got a sailfish at the same time. Then wouldn't you know, a storm started coming their way. Okay, you got 2 sailfish on, they're trying to get the sailfish up, and you know how long it can take sometimes to get a sailfish to the boat. Because
Right.
jumping up, they're diving down, they're all over the place, and you just got to keep on reeling it down when you get a chance. And the storm was coming towards them, and the ocean started getting rough. It started raining, And oh my God, that girl, she was young. She thought she was going to die back then. And, Billy, we can't let these sailfish go. And so the nut, right? He finally decides to cut his off, let it go, and try to help her get her sailfish in. And they did get it. They got it on board, and thank God got home safely. I think that was in our little 17-foot dusky out there.
Right, the dusky, I remember that, yeah. The ocean is very fickle. It can change on you, especially in the summertime. You see those squalls coming towards you. I mean, it can be flat as glass.
Yeah.
Within 2 minutes, the wind picks up, and you're heading home. Because this past summer, my friends and I have been in some serious storms. We're like, this is not looking good. When all of a sudden it's bright and cloudy, and it's Florida, so the weather changes. It could be raining 100 yards away from you and sunny where you are, but all of a sudden it changes. So it can get dangerous out there. But like I said, it's still my happy place no matter what. It's especially when not like tarpon are my favorite, because basically tarpon are prehistoric fish. They're very old, but they're called the Silver King for a reason. When they hit like they're going to jail tomorrow, and they jump. And when you see a 150-pound tarpon fly out of the water jumping in front of you, it's almost spiritual feeling. You know what I mean? It's amazing feeling. So yeah, Cindy sees I post everything on Facebook, all the pictures, and she's always commenting on it, So, but Cindy, you have to be there.
Yeah.
To know.
Yeah.
It just takes experience. It's hard to explain everything. You learn through experience. The more you go, the more you learn, and you fish with people that know stuff. You'll always learn from somebody. Something.
She did a lot as a child, so she probably only took in what she wanted to take in.
Right. Billy was a big fish, but he always caught sailfish. Always.
We were out on the boat almost every weekend.
Right. But what that has to do with physical fitness, it's the mental fitness that you have to worry about when it comes to that. It keeps you even keeled, keeps you in a positive. I believe in energies, positive and negative energies. And like when you talk about politics all the time, and that's negative energy. That crap brings you down, because you know what? You could talk about it until you turn purple. Yeah. It's out of our pay grade. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing. There's nothing we can do about it. Republican, Democrat. Those people are way above us in the pay grade. I believe this government is corrupted beyond words, and there's nothing we can do about it. So I'm at the point now, I'm not worried about it. If it doesn't affect my friends, my family, and the street I live on, and doesn't stop me from fishing,
yeah,
I just can't worry about it anymore. You know what I mean? I just can't.
Ever at a point in politics where you were listening to the news all the time, getting upset about it, letting it stress you out?
Yes. Obsessed with it. Listening to this news station, that news station, talking to my friends on Facebook about it all the time. It got to the point where, like, what am I doing?
Yeah, Facebook, how many times?
Yeah, I got 43 30-day suspensions off of Facebook. So that's actually, you figure that's 43 months. That's a couple of years there, you know what I mean? But I don't care. I mean, Facebook.
It's the way it is.
Facebook is a joke. They kick you off for any reason now. For Facebook, truth is offensive and facts are what they call bullying. I called somebody a cream puff one time, and they kicked me off for 30 days for that. I mean, apparently they don't like pastry. You know what I mean? I said, wow, we live in a world of illusion right now. Nothing is real except your family and what you can hold in your hand, because you listen to the news, they say whatever they want you to hear. They say fake news. This is real. That's real. One guy saying, oh, well, the economy's great. The other guy saying the economy's bad. And you know what I mean? Meanwhile, a box of Frosted Flakes is $8.49 at the grocery store. I was walking by the manager the other day. I go, $8.49 for Frosted Flakes?
Are you serious?
He goes, yeah. Yeah, for the big box. I go, Tony the Tiger's, he's not that great anymore. You know what I mean? Remember they used to say it's great? Well, not for $8.49, it's not. You know what I mean? Like I said, the bottom line is you can't be faking all these negative things. You can't let the negativity of the outside world get into your head, because it kills your morale and it brings on depression. And depression is one of the biggest things that'll stop you from working out, because you don't want to do anything when you're depressed. You want to stay home, just sit around, and you're thinking too much. Thinking too much is not good. You know what I mean? And stay off the damn phone. Stay off the phone and stop being on social media every 5 minutes. And you know what? I'm guilty of it. Because I look at Instagram, you look at TikTok, and some of the videos are interesting. They're funny, but Facebook to me was a poison because you're on it all the time and you're always commenting about something political. I just don't care anymore. It's the bottom line. And I'm in a better place for it, hopefully.
Yeah, we need to keep you happy. So stay away from that crap. All right, Rick. So I want to ask you about goals for our listeners. I'd like for you to give them a goal to reach, and how would they get there to live a better life?
Okay. Don't put me on the spot too much. Okay, people, listen to me. You'll be fine. What? No, the bottom line is people got to do what they do to make themselves happy. Nobody can tell you how you're going to be happy. But if you're unhappy with the way you look, if you're unhappy with the way you feel, then you have to make a decision to do something about it. Your biggest competitor is staring right back at you in that mirror. That's the person you have to worry about the most. Don't worry about what people think about you. Don't worry about what people care about you because they're not paying your bills. So the hell with them. Look in the mirror. That's the person that's going to make you happy. So if you have a goal, if you say, okay, New Year's is coming up, people make they make their, what do they call that? Well,
Resolution.
when you, right. So promise yourself you're going to do something. If you feel like going to McDonald's and you go to McDonald's a lot, don't go to McDonald's. Just have discipline. You're a strong person. If you smoke cigarettes, now I know nicotine is very addictive, but you got to say to yourself, I'm a strong person. I have a brain. That little thing, that little piece of rolled tobacco in a box is calling me and I'm not going to listen. Or that chocolate cake is calling me. I'm not going to listen because I'm going to change. And guess what? If the bottom line is, if you make a goal for yourself and you don't accomplish that goal, then the bottom line is you didn't try hard enough, no matter what. Because if you want something bad enough, you will find a way to do it. You will do it if you want it bad enough. If you don't accomplish it, you didn't want it bad enough. And that's okay too. But you just don't blame anybody but yourself. Because dieting is tough, but it's not hard. Just don't eat. Stay away from the sugars, lower your carbohydrates, up your protein. And even if you have to go outside and walk around your yard for an hour, do it. You have to keep moving. You will lose weight. You will accomplish it. And it may take a month or so, but when you see the difference, that's when you get psyched and say, wow, it's working. And that's when you push yourself more and more and more and more. And that's what it is. And that's how you do it. And that's the goal. Get your mind free of any crap around you. And while you're working out, don't think of anything else but working out because it will drag you down. Look, life is hard enough. It could be an anchor. It could pull you down. For that hour you're working out in the gym, whatever, 2 hours, walk around your yard, clear your mind and think about, I am doing this for me and I'm going to look good. The next year, people won't recognize you. And that's it. And that's it. Like I said, and if you don't do it, that's okay too, but you got to want to do it. And you can't do it half-assed. You can't go to the gym and, do a set and look at your phone for 20 minutes and then do another set. No, put the phone away, put your music on, put the music on that satisfies you no matter what it is to get you motivated. Put your music on and get in the frame of mind where you're going to go. Take a minute between sets. Do a set, sit down, take a minute. That minute's up, do another set. Trust me, you'll be in and out of that gym and your body will thank you for it. Nothing feels worse than having a bad workout. That was crap, and then you won't go back again. And that's what people don't understand that.
I wish at this point, this episode could be video because I love the determination in your face as you were saying all that. That was great. And I also wish the listeners could see you.
Well, thank you.
What a great example you are of having a healthy life all your life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's worse than getting sick. Being sick is the absolute worst. And we can prevent a lot of sicknesses by keeping our health, gut health. Take probiotics. Everybody should be taking probiotics because everything starts in the gut. Take your vitamins. When COVID came out, you notice the government, all they did was push vaccines. Nobody ever mentioned about nutrition or vitamin supplements, zinc, vitamin D3, B12, or B complex. They didn't mention any of that. do your own research. Don't trust what you hear. Do your own research on how to stay healthy. And if you have a cell phone with Google, you have the world at your fingertips. There's nothing you can't look up that you won't find on Google, especially when it comes to nutrition and health. See, it's up to the person. Now, I know people work a lot. In today's economy, people work a lot. They come home, they're tired. Last thing they want to do is go work out. It goes back to how bad do you want it? Yeah. How bad do you want it? When you come home and you got an hour, get an hour in the treadmill, make believe that's one more hour of work that you had to do. You had to do it. If you had to do it, you would do it.
And you'll be so glad after you do it because it makes you feel great.
Right. You'll feel so much better once you start in a program that you'll be addicted to it, that you won't want to stop. And that's the best thing for you right there, is not wanting to stop.
So I was going to end this, but if you have a few more minutes, I'd like to hear you say a little bit more about gut health. You said how important gut health is. Right.
Well, everything starts in your gut. And probiotics are the opposite of what you take for sickness, which is antibiotics. Antibiotics are good. They kill the germs. They kill whatever was getting you sick. But the problem is they kill everything. And probiotics are billions, literally billions in a little capsule of good nutrients in your body. And they start with gut health. Everything starts in your stomach, in your gut, in your intestines. Your whole health system starts there. When you take probiotics, it keeps it strong. I think of them as little soldiers when I take them going down there and fighting off anything bad in my stomach, because I have a very sensitive gut. If I eat something a little bit spicy, it bothers me. And I take my probiotics. I think each pill has like 1 billion active cultures in it. I mean, probiotics are found in yogurts, plain yogurt. I mean, if you eat like there's some of these yogurts that claim they have it in, if they're pasteurized, they kill the probiotics. Just go to a health food store, and the best probiotics are found in the refrigerator. They're in the refrigerator section. You got to keep them in the refrigerator because these are live little creatures. They're live microbiotic creatures. They have to be alive to work. So I take 2 pills a day, and that's a start to keep you healthy. I mean, that's a routine that I always do, because the gut health, like I said, everything starts in the gut. All diseases, sicknesses start with nutrition. You have to eat well, and you got to keep your intestines healthy.
Yeah. Did you start taking probiotics when you started working out when you were skinny?
No, I've been taking probiotics just the past maybe 3 years. Because I didn't really know too much about it. I mean, I heard about it, but I started doing more reading about it. And actually, my wife pushed me on that, because my wife got a degree as a physician's assistant, so she would tell me about it. Take probiotics, and then I started doing it. And it prevents colds, it prevents stomach aches, it prevents gas, it prevents diarrhea, it helps prevent all that stuff. It's not a cure-all, but it's just one more thing to keep you healthy. It's like putting an additive in your gas tank to make your engine run better. Bottom line.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing that information. Good stuff. So is there anything in 2024 for Rick DeTata that is going to improve his health and happiness?
I'm retired. Every day is a weekend for me. So, I mean, I live day by day right now. We got some trips planned. My wife's parents, my wife's mother lives in Finland. So we're going to go see her, go to Finland. That's a beautiful place. But maybe some more traveling, maybe do a little fishing.
Yeah, seeing a little more travel is not better can it get.
Yeah, right. So, but as soon as this wind dies down, it's been very windy, so nobody's out there right now, because it's been pretty rough. But 2024 is, who knows? Who knows the state of the country's going to be this year? Who knows? You know what I mean? Everything's different than it was when we were kids.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. So when you travel, do you work out?
Yes, I find a gym somewhere. When I was in Desert Storm, the first Gulf War, we went to Bahrain, and they told us you're not allowed to wear tank tops because it's a Muslim country. But Bahrain's pretty liberal. So one of the only Muslim countries that serve alcohol. So we had to stay in the Hilton because there wasn't a base there. We were using their runway, the national airport, as a runway. And the first day I got there, I put a tank top on it, and I went down to the lounge down there, and there was a Filipino band playing Pink Floyd as 2 guys that were from Saudi Arabia in the full headdresses were sitting next to me. And I thought I took some kind of hallucinogenic drug. I go, where the hell am I? So they have a lot of major hotels there. So I just went from hotel to hotel and used their gym. You can always find somewhere to work out. And even if you can't find a gym, walk, run, do something. You know what I mean? If I swim in the pool, swimming's great, So like I said, I'll say it again. I said it a million times. It's just a matter of how bad you want it. You'll find something.
Well, Brent, thank you so much for being on the show. This was fun.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It was fun. I haven't spoken to you in a long time. I miss you.
We got to get together.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
This is Angela Grayson from the Loving Life Fitness Podcast to help others in their fitness journey. All possible.
It's time to wake up.